Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we are putting head-to-head FSAs versus HSAs for 2025, the outlook of which one you should be using to save money, tax money, on expenses you'd be paying for anyway. We're going to dive into this so you understand how to get the most out of your federal benefits. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. So good to have you. My name is Dallin Hoswell, financial planner who serves federal employees just like you. Now, before we dive into the differences, let's talk about what these things have in common. What do an FSA and an HSA do? Like, what is the concept? Well, this is the concept. When you put money into either one of these accounts, you get a tax deduction, right? So if you make, let's say, $100,000 and you put $2,000 into one of these accounts, you get taxed as if you made only $98. It's a tax deduction for any money you might put into these accounts, which we like that, meaning you pay less taxes. That is what this is for. Now, these accounts, the primary purpose of them is to pay for medical expenses, right? FSA stands for flexible spending account. HSA stands for health savings account, okay? They are meant to be spent on medical expenses. So you put the money in, you get a tax deduction. When the money comes out to pay for medical expenses, it comes out tax-free as long as it's for a medical expense, right? Something that is on the list of things you can use it for, okay? But generally speaking, anything medical expense-y, okay, normally you can spend the money and get tax-free status, no problem. But let's talk about, now that we understand the core idea of what an FSA and HSA does, what are the differences? Well, the first difference is how much you can actually put into the account. So we got the new numbers right here. I've got my reference sheet over on the wall here. In an FSA, oh, that's not right. that actually goes, you got a sneak peek of what's coming over. But in an FSA, you can do $3,300 per year is how much you can contribute into your FSA every single year. That is the most you can do. You can't do more than that. You can do less if you want, but you can't do more. Now, over here on an HSA side, you can do $4,300, okay? $4,300 if it's a self-only, if you're self-only, and you can do $5,500, okay? $8,500. I'm messing up with my numbers over here. $8,500, okay, if you have a family plan. So in HSA, right off the top, you can put a lot more in, or at least some more in, than an FSA. So that's better so far. Let's talk about the next one, okay? What about rolling money over year to year, okay? An FSA, by design, doesn't let you roll a ton of money year over year. Now, what does that mean? So let's say you put $3,300 into the FSA. How much of that will go into the next calendar year? Let's say you don't use it. Let's say you only use $2,000, right? What happens to that $1,300 that is still in it? That's what we're talking about. How much can roll over into the next year if unused, okay? So in an FSA, we saw this number before because I put it a little early. The most you can roll over per year is $660. Okay, in 2025. So 660 is the most that can roll over. So if you have more than that sitting in your FSA before the end of the year, spend it. Spend it on something, okay? Excuse me. Long story short, that's the most that will roll over every year. So you basically want to spend down your entire FSA or pretty close to it every single year. Now, an HSA is different. You can roll over an unlimited amount, okay? It is unlimited. You can move over as much as you'd like. There's no limits. It's your money forever, and that's just how it works. And let's actually move on to the next piece, investing the money. In an FSA, you cannot invest the money. However, in an HSA, you can. So as this suggests that you can roll over an unlimited amount per year, that some people can really build up a HSA with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over time, and you're able to actually invest that money in things that will grow over time. And the reason people do this is so that when they're young and middle of their career, they can build up this account. So when they're older and their medical expenses are going to be higher, they've got a really healthy HSA there for them to be able to spend and enjoy. Okay? Now, what kind of expenses can you use these accounts for? So I'm not going to go over the full list. You can find that online pretty easily. If you go to FSAFeds.com, so FSAFeds.com, you can find the full list of things that FSAs cover. And HSA cover all of those things, plus a few other things like Medicare premiums, long-term care expenses, that kind of stuff as well. Okay, long-term care premiums. So HSA covers all of these plus some. Okay, plus some. Now, what's the catch, right? This all sounds great. What is the catch? Well, let's start with the FSA. The biggest catch of the FSA is that it's connected to your job, basically. If you leave or retire, you cannot take it with you. You cannot keep doing this in retirement. It just even if you keep working, you just leave the government for the private sector. Again, this cannot come with you. It stays, okay? So it stays with the job, okay? An HSA, you can actually take with you. It's your account. You can take it with you for the rest of your life, which is fantastic. That's not the catch, but the catch of an HSA is to use it, you have to be on a high deductible health plan. There are different types of health plans out there, and high deductible health plans is one type. Okay, and as the name suggests, it has a high deductible, right? Which means you pay more of the expenses early, right, in the year. You have a higher deductible. However, many of these plans will actually, first, they'll give you access to an HSA, which is fantastic. And many of them will actually put money into your HSA on top of what you're contributing as well, right? They put money in there as well. And what most people find when they're on a high deductible plan is that the premiums, of course, tend to be way cheaper than other plans. And they tend to save a lot of money. Now, this is not the case if you routinely hit your deductible. If you have a lot of medical expenses that are just all the time, right, you probably shouldn't be in a high deductible plan. Probably not. But if you're the type of person that really doesn't go to the doctor, you almost never hit your deductible, then I would look at a high deductible plan. Now, we just got through open season not too long ago for 2024, going into 2025. But next year, if you want to look at this, look into it, because you have to be on a high deductible plan if you want to use an HSA. You can't stay on Blue Cross Standard and use an HSA at the same time. You've got to be on a high deductible plan, okay? Long story short, there's lots of differences between an HSA and an FSA. I would use one of them, especially if you have some medical expenses you're paying for anyway. Why not get a tax deduction? An HSA is better on every front, except for the fact that you have to have a high deductible plan. But look into that as well. See if that makes sense. If it does, great. You could probably save a bunch of money and have access to an HSA where you can save taxes and build money that can pay for medical expenses over time. So I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.